is Chelsea, and this is your go-to podcast for staying updated, meeting new faces, and hearing their stories from the Hunter Valley Grammar School community. This week, we're joined by Mr. Guy, and we dive deep into rugby at HVGS over the last 35 years. Stay tuned. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wonnarua people, and pay respects to elders past and present. Their traditions of storytelling and knowledge sharing continue to inspire and enrich our school community. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Guy.
Oh, thanks, Chelsea. Well, yeah, I'm the head of Stage 5, as you know. So I have Mrs. Killen and Mrs. Spindler-Grabbit working with me, looking after those wilderness years of Year 9 and 10. And my other role is as the program manager for the rugby program here at Hunter Valley Grammar School, which has come along in leaps and bounds in the last 30-odd years, when we had a squad of about 15, 17 players right through to today, where we've got squads going right down from under 10s to under 18s. So yeah, that's part of my role in promoting rugby here at the school and promoting that experience for both boys and girls.
So as you said, you've been part of the HVGS rugby for a while now. So how would you say it's evolved?
Obviously, the program has expanded, considering that the rugby field as it existed consisted of the rugby posts they brought over from Lawn Park that were surplus to requirements for Maitland Rugby, and they were put up by the Raywood boys at the time. So right through to today, where we're looking at getting players in from other schools and other programs we've become very attractive in terms of our rugby programs from both the point of view of the competitions we offer and also the quality of coaching. So,
and how long have you been at HVGS for?
Too long, some people would say, but this is my 34th year.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, I'd say you've coached many players. Do you have any that stand out as the most memorable?
Well, probably a couple of players. First of all, Chris Edwards. Chris Edwards was our first player who actually made Australian schools.
Oh, wow.
So back in 2008...
the year we were born.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel old. But Chris went on to now be very high up in the executive of the LA Rams, so the Los Angeles Rams. So,
oh my God!
Yeah, so he's there. Charles Croucher, I don't know whether you watch broadcast news, but Charles was our first 15 captain. He was also school captain. He's now the chief political reporter for Channel 9, so too many to mention specifically, but...
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, it's...
too many memorable players.
Exactly.
And what do you think is the biggest lesson that rugby teaches students beyond the field?
For me, it's a couple of things. Number one, being part of a culture that, it encourages, people to, whether you're the best rugby player in the team or you're just, out there having a go, that you're included in the rugby side. Many years ago, we were playing against Merriweather High, and we had one of our better rugby players that made a break, and he was just about ready to score a try, and he actually saw a guy who'd never scored a try before in his life, but he was out there having a go. So Josh just waited for him and then passed him the ball so he could score his first ever try. So to me, that encapsulated what the rugby program is all about. Those life lessons and being able to be out there with your mates. The other probably big thing is maintaining our profile off the park, and it's something we try to really focus on. That you've got to be a good person. So we pick on character before we pick on talent.
Yeah.
So if that sort of sums everything up in those ways.
What is the state of HVGS rugby today, and where do you see it heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
Obviously, building on what we've got, improving our facilities, and as I said, making those connections so that boys and girls don't have to go to Sydney to make their way to the higher rugby echelons. Probably one of my biggest regrets, I know, which we tried before COVID to actually have a first 15 alumni program. Getting to the stage where there's a alumni dinner every year where we play a first 15 match and then invite the alumni in and then have a dinner after it. For both, and the actual alumni present the jumpers to the players.
I think you should really get onto this. I reckon that would be great.
Yeah. So. And that, invite parents and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So with the pandemic,
COVID.
It took the wind out of the sails with a few of those things. So,
And would you say you have any advice for students who want to get into rugby but feel intimidated?
get in and have a go. I think that's the main thing. It's like no matter what you're doing, and you're on the water this morning, it takes a little bit of courage to get into a boat and row, because it's really unstable. So just that stepping outside your comfort zone, and that sense of enjoyment, the sense of being with mates I think that's a way of encouraging players to take that first step.
And just a little bit of context for everyone listening, I went rowing this morning.
Or tried to go rowing, Chelsea.
Yeah, I attempted. I tried to. Don't know how well I did, but I gave it a go, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's again, that's something we like in the rugby program. Just come give things a go, and that's what our school's all about, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
The opportunities that we provide, whether it's at rowing or drama or aerobics or rugby, we have that a great breadth of opportunities.
And what would you say is the biggest change, not just in rugby, but in general, you've seen at HVGS since you first came here?
Obviously, the size of the school.
Yeah.
It's grown, especially in the early 2000s, grown exponentially. If you look around, we had where the O'Brien Administration Centre, that was a demountable building. The library was a demountable building.
Oh my God.
The canteen used to be just out here. It was a timber building. So all this out here was bush. In fact, when I first started, the rugby field, we actually had to go and one of the students on afternoon detention, that's what they had to do is go up and help weed the rugby field and
oh my God.
and spread seed. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is seeing a growth in the community at the school.
Yeah.
Just seeing the growth of opportunities at the school.
And what is your all-time favourite HVGS event or tradition?
I liked last year when we actually played the final of the ACES Cup here at school, and the boys were actually the ELC students. They came over, and each of the players took an ELC student out onto the rugby field. There was a smoking ceremony before it. That just shows you how things have progressed in terms of the diversity of opportunities. But that was a favourite moment.
Yeah.
And actually. In the past, we've hosted international games here at the school.
Really?
Yeah, we've hosted New South Wales country schools and Tonga here at school. So that was and I think we've had Samoa here as well as.
Oh my God!
In the past, so.
If HVGS had a time capsule, what would you want to put in it?
One of our rugby jumpers, because now I think that it sort of encapsulates the school. The school colours. We now have Ari Green's koala that he produced. That's part of our rugby jumper. So that's something that's evolved over time. That more inclusive part. So probably a footy jumper. Maybe even one from the early years when it had the old embroidered crest on it rather than sublimated.
Oh my God!
And the jumpers were actually really almost a wool material.
All right, now moving on to some rapid fire questions. These ones are really quick answers. Describe HVGS in one word.
Opportunities.
Favourite sports team.
Green Bay Packers.
One piece of life advice.
Take the opportunities that you were given.
What is your dream travel destination?
Venice.
If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Crumb cutlets.
Are there any upcoming games or events that people should attend?
All our rugby events, obviously. We've got our primary sevens kick off later this term.
Oh.
So on the 21st of March. And then I think we're first 15 kicking off early in term 2. And then, the under-14s kick off. So it's all happening.
So lots to look forward to in the next few months?
Yeah, especially at the beginning of term 2, which it basically is rugby term, so terms 2 and 3. So then I think the girls are playing. Yeah, the boys, it's all happening at the beginning of next term.
And what is the best way for students to find out more about playing rugby if they haven't before?
Probably, come and see me myself.
Yep.
Or
In the Stage 5 office in iBlock, just for everyone listening.
There you go. That's a bit of a plug for the Stage 5 team.
Yeah.
If they're in the younger years, under 14s, Mr. Morgan or Mr. Corcoran. The under 16s, Mr. Miles, who's in the library, and Mr. Curran. And then myself or Mr. Hallgood or Mr. Berry, if they're interested in Opens footy. And then other girls just come and see me as well. So.
Yep, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great chatting to you.
Oh, no problems. Thank you. Anytime.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. To make sure you don't miss out, hit follow or subscribe on your favourite podcast player and follow us on Instagram at The Grammar Grapevine. Leave us a review and give us 5 stars. Catch new guests every Monday. See you next week.